You start.
You start?
You start.
We met on a blind date through a mutual friend where my wife was working at the time. It was almost, 17, 18 years ago now, something like that?
It'll be 17 years in March.
17 in March. We just had our 15th wedding anniversary yesterday, Valentine's Day. So we came up here to Paso Robles with some friends to celebrate both Valentine's Day and our anniversary.
We, this blind date was pretty funny because everybody, the stigma of a blind date, it's like, oh boy, a blind date. But this was such an amazing thing because our first date, Dave came and picked me up, and that traditional part of coming to my home and picking me up, it was so different because most women were not having men come to their house anymore. They would meet him in a coffee shop. But talking to him on the phone, there was just something so trusting about him and innocent that I felt very safe still having him come to my house. And our first date was kind of funny. After I talked to him on the phone for about an hour before we went on our first date, I just felt really comfortable. But on our first date, I could tell that he was nervous, is what I kind of chalked it up with, because he was just kind of goofy and saying goofy things, but yet there was something so sweet and so innocent about him that he just seemed like a diamond in the rough. And after our first date, I thought, if he doesn't call me back, that's okay, that it just wasn't meant to be, but if he did, I would give him a second chance. And he did call me back, and I think you only waited a couple of days, where sometimes people would take a week or so to call back, but he called, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna do it again. Well, I had asked some friends, and I kind of told them about the date, and they said, oh, don't go out with him again, he sounds really weird. And I said, no, there's just something really special about him. And so we went out on that second date, and that was just, it kind of sealed the deal. All sorts of funny things happened. He forgot his glasses. I had to read the menu for him, and yet he was very humbled about it. He wasn't embarrassed. He just kind of was like, I can't see the menu. Can you read for me? And just very honest. And then he asked me out again, and that was our third date. And after our third date, I just thought, wow, there's really something special about this man. And then we started camping together.
We started doing some camping down in our area, and we went out on I guess it was a long weekend camping trip. I found this place, and we just kind of went out there, and there was nobody around. We had the whole campground to ourselves. We did some hiking, some exploring. We found some waterfalls out there, and just had an amazing time together. And I think that's the time for both of us that we realized we were probably either falling in love or have fallen in love, or knew that we wanted to spend the rest of our lives together. And after that, we were pretty much inseparable. We were together on a lot of, I don't even know if they were dates, but if I had any place to go, Kathy went, and vice versa.
We were living, at that time, I was living in San Diego, working at the hospital down in San Diego, and Dave was living up in Vista, so we were having to do some commuting, and but anytime we had a chance, we were together, whether we were down at my house in San Diego or up in Vista at his house. And we just, there was like no question. After there was a certain time where I just thought, this is such a God thing. This man, I would never have expected, had I tried to plan it. It just was such a God thing. And we still tell the funny stories of just that first date. The joke is that I always tend to run a little bit late and push the envelope, and Dave was early to my house that first date, and I wasn't even ready. I'd been in a softball tournament all day, and I came home and I showered and threw my robe on, and I didn't know what to wear because I thought we hadn't even really talked about where we were going to go. And he came to my house early, and I thought, oh my gosh, why is he early? And I showed up answering the door wearing this robe that we call it the Humping Bunny robe, a robe that I got in Paris. And, it's just, I thought, how do I show up at my door wearing a robe? But I was like, I had no clothes on, I threw something on, and I thought, well, once I saw how he was dressed, I knew what to wear. But the funny thing was, prior to him coming to the house, anytime I had dated anybody, I had 2 golden retrievers, and I got all sorts of reactions about my dogs, like, oh, you have dogs, or what kind of dogs are those? Like, who doesn't know what a golden retriever is? And it was the first person that looked back through my house and saw these 2 goldens looking back at him, and he said, oh, you have 2 golden retrievers, those are great dogs. And it was almost like that just kind of sealed the deal, because he loved animals and he loved dogs, and we just, I don't know, every minute we spent together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
we continued dating, and I proposed to her on your
20th high school
reunion day. I surprised her, of course, with the ring and some flowers and the traditional down on my knee, and asked her to marry me. She said yes.
It was truly, up until that point in my life, the happiest day of my life. I mean, it was just like God was moving in our lives, and it was the prayer, I guess, I had all my life, that God would find the perfect man, and he was, and that was the happiest day. And then the next happiest day was the day we got married, and the next happiest day was after our first child. It just seemed like these milestones that the 2 of us were doing together. The fact that we were doing them together, it just, I couldn't imagine my life without him.
And now we have 3 children. Our second time around, we ended up with twins, boy-girl twins, who have just become an amazing part of our family. It's really wonderful to have these 3 children in our lives and sharing our lives, and it's just amazing.
We are blessed.
Mm-hmm.
It is truly a blessed life, and I think we can't wait to see what's going to happen next, that God continues to bless us with finding each other late in life. For both of us, and neither one of us had ever been married, and to get married at our age, and then to be able to have children in our 40s and 50s, and now in our 60s, to have these young children. We just are having a great time. It's an amazing, amazing ride, and I couldn't imagine doing it with anybody else in the world. I love you.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Thank you.
Thank you.